Mr. Bartkiewicz is a particular personality in the Polish banking world because he's actually one of the few really international Polish managers. He spent over 7 years at ING in the Netherlands and actually directed ING Direct, if I'm correct, in the Netherlands. So one of the banks which actually was at the forefront of the changes in consumer finance within the ING group. So you're trying to actually, in the process of introducing Agile into the Polish bank in the ING group. So have you changed your function into a Scrum Master? Are you a Scrum Master now at your bank?
No, I'm not.
How far does Agile actually go in terms of when you introduce it into a bank? Is it limited to IT projects, IT management, product development, or do you actually introduce Agile across the board in all the operations of your bank? Because this is the narrative that ING has.
Let me start with something which is not exactly and directly answer your question. First of all, we are interested in making organization better, so namely working faster, more efficient, and in a better coordinated way, reducing waste and being more proactive and being more responsive to what is happening in the market. So we are introducing new methods of working to achieve that. And Agile as the methodology or concept or set of methods is fitting our purpose. That's why we are using whenever that's proper to use, okay? Because from the perspective of definition, I do not care whether this is called Agile or wherever it's the name. What I'm interested in is whether it's working and whether it's bringing the results that we are expecting. So once again, as you all know, the concept of Agile, which is principally extremely simple and common sense type of structure, it's originally, of course, based in the IT development part. However, over time, combined with other elements and concepts which appeared over time, like design thinking or lean startup version of life, and so on and so forth, it's coming to the new set of solutions that you are trying to build up. What is the core reasons why we want to do that? What was the core reason why we wanted to introduce it in IT world was the number of changes. So smaller projects that you are running the organization is increasing with such a speed, and it's so much related to the fact, or it's so much, the success of this sub-projects, micro-project, is so much dependent on properly understanding the need of the customer. It's so much dependent on the changing of this requirement, plus coordination within the organization, and outcome is only MVP, that you need to change the method of working from a traditional, as we call it, waterfall project management. So all that what I just said, it's of course extremely important for the IT development, but the same elements why we need to change the organization are applicable to the situation of the principally whole organization. What is ING, what is, in my view, bank, or what is principally every corporation at the moment in the world. This is the unit, this is the organization, which is doing nothing but improving itself. The only thing that the organization is doing is getting better and better every day. That's what it is. If that is the case, then you need to act a bit differently. So we introduced what we call new way of working, just not to get immediately into discussion whether this is Agile, not to get into the fanatism, what is Agile, what is not Agile, what is within the model of Spotify, what is not within the model of Spotify. It's our methodology, new way of working, supported by the method of PACE, which is how to deal with the idea development, and that's how we restructured the organization. So IT development is working like that in our bank for already several years, and principally I can say that at the moment, the whole IT development is in that structure. More and more, big part of IT development was shifted and mixed to reduce the interaction within the organization with people who are in what used to be called product development. Now it's more perhaps customer journey. So mixed with people who used to work in product development, in customer journey, people who were in pricing, people who were in operations. They were mixed. And that applies to the whole retail organization within our bank and the whole corporate customers organization.
So marketing, product development would be included in that process. What is set out? What is not included and covered by Agile? What would you never Agilize in your company?
Once again, we have to understand what Agile is, because otherwise it's becoming something like a slogan. And I hate slogans.
Well, but ING is advertising as the most agile bank in the world. So, you know, a big part of your marketing, global marketing narrative is about we are really agile.
I don't think so. I don't think so. We are just advertising. We are changing organization. We are changing organization. And we certainly don't use that method because, to be honest, I don't think that anybody cares whether we are agile or not agile. What people care is whether we deliver the proper services and care to the customer or not. That's what people care. So I wouldn't say that, because we are quite logical, intelligent organization, I think. So I don't think that we are doing a stupid marketing in that manner. So what is covered or what is not covered? Certainly, from the book and definition, you can say that part of operation, so routine tasks performed, is not to be agile, because the outcome of their work is known, they are not dependent, they are just flying with the manufacturing. However, if you look at, for instance, what is called in our organization the operation, we just counted, only 1/3 of people within that structure, we can call that they do routine tasks. 10 years ago, all of them did. Now, 1/3. Operations became a process management. So, of course, they are combined with the new way of working, or this, as you want to call it, agile, just for simplification, agile way of working. We were thinking that, for instance, call center answering the call of complaining customer or customer with the problem, which is the same. However, we immediately found out that the most important factor is how to solve the problem of the customer within a short time and during the first call. So, of course, we have to mix the people and get them the freedom how to maneuver. Maybe I'll explain you what is in philosophy, the new way of working, how it works. Principally, you are dividing your organization into sub-companies, into small, let's be very much in fashion, small fintechs. So we are having hundreds of small fintechs within our organization. What is fintech? Fintech is the technology-driven organization which is having in life a specific purpose or need of the customer to solve, right? So we are creating this kind of challenges, and hundreds of them we convert into hundreds of small companies that exist. These companies are in the book, according to the book, they are independent and self-organized. It is their business to make life better. If we are having the task like opening current account, there is a squad which is running only about opening current account for individuals customers. What is the aim? To make that process as smooth as possible. Is it the fintech? Yes, it is the fintech. And we are having hundreds of them. And they are working in that manner. Within that team, they are having their own IT, their own customer, their own pricing, their own process management, their own link with compliance, and so on and so forth. So this is the new method of working, right?
I have a question, because
as you are seeing, Agile is not exactly the same.
Okay, I will stick with your term, the new way of thinking, and it looks all
working,
beautiful and great, but I wanted to ask about a specific challenge which comes with that, with every change, and this is big change, what you're talking about. This is the change of the way processes are being run within an organization.
Yeah.
How do you manage cultural change? Because when you introduce in a pretty hierarchical structure like a bank, in a pretty hierarchical society like Poland, a change which means you're self-organized, you do projects on your own, you surely face a lot of tension.
No.
Not at
Why?
all.
Why
I think
not?
we'll have to prolong the panel in order to tease out the answers.
First of all, this way of working is not for everybody. If you are defining the culture and the organization and extremely hierarchical, don't even try. Don't even try. Namely, we are making these changes, and we call them evolutionary changes, because ING Bank Śląski was not hierarchical organization. It was a project, multiple project-driven organization already. The image of the bank as being the most traditional and outdated, not modern organization in the current world, perhaps is having some kind of substantiation, but one thing is certain. We are not the role model of such a bank. We are the bank which, before the changes, was already different. We are not hierarchical organization. We are project-driven organization. So such an introduction, and we are process-driven organization for decades, okay? If you don't have the proper process management, if you have not introduced, if you are not having the experience with proper BPM, with proper Lean, with Six Sigma, experience and kept within the culture of the organization for years, don't even try to go for the agile way of working more than in IT development. Don't even try, you will not succeed. There is a proper time and proper foundation for building anything in the house. I wouldn't do that in many organizations that I know in Poland. I wouldn't dare to do that. In this bank, it was possible, we could do that.
Now, if we imagine those squads, those individual fintechs within your company, and we try now to take a look from your perspective, from your office, as equal and unhierarchical a manager you are, you still have to manage an organization. You have to be the CEO, you have to run it, you have to make decisions. Some people will like them, others will not.
Coordinate, integrate,
how do you
challenge.
coordinate that?
That's it.
That tribe of tribes.
Well, I have, of course, the people who in the, you can call it hierarchical, I call it in the network, bridges and not in the network structure. We are coordinating what people are saying, are looking. If you are interested, go to the books, look for the term Obeya room, and then you will find out what is, for instance, the kind of visual way of coordinating activities of hundreds of companies, right? Per definition, it sounds extremely difficult, and this is totally different management than before. So 20 years ago, many organizations in the world were, my reports, I give you the order, I am the guru, I am the genius, I know what you have to do, I split the work among you, and then they were going deeper, deeper, deeper. I don't believe that such organization exists anymore. I don't think so.
But it demands a different kind of leadership than the one that we are accustomed to in Polish businesses. And I have a last question, which I think is...
Polish businesses are not that bad as you try to stipulate.
Did I say that they are bad? I have been descriptive, not judgmental. I have a question which I think might be in the back of the heads of some people here in the room, which surely is in the back of my head. Since I also run a company which is no longer a startup, but is a very early stage company. And in many smaller companies, in young companies, especially among people who are working in those companies, there is a sentiment that after a period of startupping, of high adrenaline work on a project, people want to have more rigidity. They want to have more of a structure, more of a stability.
Yes.
So what would be your advice to people in the room who are running smaller and younger companies? What should they avoid in order not to lose the agile structure that you actually are reintroducing in an established company?
Of course, this is the dilemma of growing companies, okay? And we are seeing that pattern, that companies are like starting collapsing, then the most successful are growing, many of them collapsing, and only few are getting up. Of course, it's relating to the fact of like, keep changing, keep improving yourself. For those of you who are interested in that matters, have not yet read the Clayton Christensen's books, some of them are very old, right? Please do read. This is the basic theoretical structure which is explaining to you how you cannot get into even thinking that building and scaling up the organization will be always like that. It will be the same organization by bigger. No, it will not be. While you are introducing the rules for your organization because you are becoming bigger and one person, so rule of the thumb is, if you are employing more than 97 people, you don't know them by name, then you have to introduce the management style. If you are having 1,000 people, you are dependent because you are not running the organization anymore. Your people are running the organization, you only coordinate your people. So of course there is a challenge at every stage of organization development. So don't get into the trap that your previous model is still good for the future. That's the biggest mistake that you can get. The more you are becoming bigger, the more complex you are becoming, the different model you have to apply. Look for the model, there are solutions everywhere.
Daniel is running this stage, so he's approaching slowly in order to give us a sign that we should wrap up. I wanted to thank Brunon Bartkiewicz for the conversation. I think the bottom line is more or less that we have to find a balance between agility and rigidity. It's not like structure is bad as such, but infusing agility into established structure is the key to success. Thank you very much.
Thank you.